we need to talk about Hereditary. Look, I wasn't going to review this movie. That doesn't mean I didn't like it. No, the complete opposite. I loved this movie, but there's just something about it that I wanted to keep special for me. I enjoyed this horror experience so much that I didn't want to share it with anybody else. But Hereditary has been like eating away at me. I can't stop thinking about this movie. So you know what? I'm going to talk to you guys about it because I have things, feelings, thoughts, emotions to get out. So yes, this is my review for the film Hereditary. First things first, let's get this out of the way. Hereditary is a very polarizing movie. This is not for everybody. I think everyone should see it, but it's not going to land and hit the mark with everybody like it did me. Like, trust me, I think it's very interesting seeing the divide. There is a big critical consensus, or some horror fans are calling this a modern day classic. Then you go and look at the cinema score for the movie, and it's a D+. Cinema score, if you don't know, is kind of like a review thing where after movies, they get your kind of initial reaction, leaving the theater, hey, what's your thoughts? And they'll give it like a A through F. Last year, we had a movie like Mother that got an F cinema score. So if you're noticing a little trend there, it's usually these art house horror movies. It's the ones that they go into thinking they're going to get a normal Insidious or Conjuring kind of movie. And they're walking into something like Rosemary's Baby, or even like more grimy art house foreign films like Martyrs or a Serbian film. Okay, maybe not as brutal as a Serbian film, but they're going in thinking they're getting this movie and then getting this movie. And I understand it. This movie is a little dark. I can see it's probably too dark for mainstream audiences. These are the same people who said Batman v Superman was too dark.
Why did you say that name?
So yeah, you can kind of see that this isn't going to land with everybody. But the people who land it, who it lands with, I truly think you will love this movie. If you haven't seen it, you go out and see it. I hope you're the side that actually really loves it, but you're the side who doesn't like it. I want you to come back and tell me why. What didn't about it connect with you? Because I've seen a couple of reviews, especially the infamous Grace Randolph on YouTube said she hated this movie, and I was just like, okay, that's interesting. And then seeing other critics being like, this is a classic. That's the kind of movie Hereditary is, and that's what you should know going into it. You're gonna land on one side. I'm hoping you're gonna land on the I love it side. That means we have a similar taste in movies and we like these weird things. But if you don't like it, let me know why. If you have seen it, let me know in the comments why you didn't like it. If you do like it, let me know as well in the comments, because I want to talk about this more. This is so polarizing, and I love movies like this. I love The Last Jedi for splitting up a fan base. I love Batman v Superman for that. I love Mother. I love, God, there's even been movies this year that Infinity War has kind of split up some fans as well. I like movies that challenge audiences, and Hereditary is a challenge. This will test you. Hereditary is like an AP exam. It is just advanced. It is hard to follow, but it's still interesting. It's still warm and inviting enough to get you into the movie. And then when you're there, you're like, I know what's gonna happen. No, I don't. Oh my God, everything is not what it should be, and I love that. To go on to that point of this movie being not what you expect, I went in as a big horror fan being like, I know the tropes. This one's gonna happen. Oh yeah, she's not doing anything until then. No, there was a moment about 25 minutes in, I don't know exactly when, but if you know the scene, it is the car scene, it's the most disturbing scene of the movie. That's when I was just like, oh, the director Ari Aster, he knows what the hell he's doing. He's taking these tropes and genre conventions that we know, especially diehard horror fans. He's saying, yeah, you think you know, but you have no idea. And I appreciate that. I appreciate a director challenging us, trying to get us out of the norm, out of our comfort zone. Because once that big dramatic moment happens halfway through, and I picked up my jaw because, no lie, about 2.5 minutes of me going, no. I took my mom with me, and I even looked at her and was like, psst, it'd be fixed in the morning. Oh my God, it's not. So I love something like that happens because it keeps it fresh for us. A lot of times, you can go to an Insidious movie and count all right, it's been about 15 minutes, jump scare. All right, and now a lot of exposition, and now another jump scare. You cannot map out Hereditary, and I love that. I love going into a movie just as a newborn baby viewer, like no idea what's happening, no genre conventions, no tropes to follow. There's some little tropes here and there, but for the most part, it's hard to follow. It's hard to grasp what's happening because it's so different and so new. When talking about Hereditary, for me, one of the most standout performances or standout moments from this is the acting. The acting in this film is so top-notch. Even when it's the most over-the-top and crazy, you still feel grounded. It still feels something like, you still feel like you're in the room. When Toni Collette is scolding her son, you feel like Peter in that moment. And when he's sassing her back and being like, no, let me tell you. Okay, this is all basically one scene. It's the dinner scene where Toni Collette goes in on Peter. I love that scene. That's everyone being a great actor. The father, I think Gabriel Byrne is his name. He did great in his role of kind of a nothing character. No fault on him as an actor, it's just the character. But he did great in that scene. But it is Toni Collette being like, oh, you asked for my opinion? Here's my opinion. And I really like that. I just love her going over the top and going in. She gave a very award-deserving performance. Do I think she's gonna get nominated? I don't know. That cinema score is gonna hurt it a little bit like it did Mother. And I don't know, horror isn't always the most accessible at award time, but Toni Collette gives a award-deserving performance. But for me, the shining star in this movie is Alex Wolff. You recently saw him in Jumanji. You saw his brother in the Death Note remake. They were also on a show on Nickelodeon called The Naked Brothers. Alex Wolff is just amazing. I like him. Oh, I saw him in My Friend Dahmer last year, which was one of my favorite movies last year. So to see him in this, I was like, okay, what are you gonna do? Oh my God, you're stealing this show. In that disturbing car scene I mentioned earlier, he has one of the best moments of acting I have seen in quite some time. He goes through every range of emotion on his face, the shock, the disgust, the terror. I felt it. It made me uncomfortable, and I like being uncomfortable in a movie. Trust me, there's so many times you sit in a movie, you're like, that's fine, I had no emotion. The emotion I had of this movie is uncomfortable, I was unpleasant. I wanted to shower after, and I like that. And Alex Wolff's performance is half of that reason. He dives into this. And from what I've heard, the director said he was really method on set. He didn't really talk to a lot of people. He kind of stayed in a hotel away from the set. I like that a lot. I like hearing stuff like this because this proves that Alex Wolff is a force to be reckoned with. I see him going more and more I hope he stays in horror with My Friend Dahmer and a movie like this. It seems to be his bread and butter. Go make a movie like Jumanji. Go cash that big check so you can go back to a movie like Hereditary and blow all of our minds because Alex, please keep this up. I loved your performance. I like how I said Alex, he's gonna watch this, but if you are Alex Wolff, I like you, like your brother a lot as well. You two are my new favorite up-and-coming actors. When talking about standout moments though, I mentioned the acting and I mentioned how shocking and polarizing this movie is. Who to thank for all of that? It's the director, Ari Aster, who I think is going to be a future icon in this industry. His short films are some of the most talked about and controversial short films in quite some time. I think there's one a couple years ago, maybe 2014. I'll put the title of it up here. I was shook by it. I mean, there's a lot of family issues. I think that's kind of his big niche is family horror and exposing the craziness of families. I like his work. Ari Aster has a good future ahead of him, and I'm really happy a distribution company like A24 gave this a chance. A24 is always killing it with movies like The Witch, you have Spring Breakers, you have so many from A24 that I'm happy that they gave him a chance because I don't know any other studio that would have gave this movie a shot. Maybe someone like Netflix would have put it on streaming, but it would not have had the reaction and the guttural insanity that this movie has had in the box office. I love seeing a art house horror film get snuck into the mainstream like this because it only leads to best reactions. That D+ cinema score as a horror fan makes me happy. It means that audiences were uncomfortable. Sure, maybe them just didn't like it as a movie, but none of them can say this is a bad movie because the direction of this movie is so amazing. The cinematography is great as well. The cinematographer does some amazing things with light and how our eyes adjust to darkness to scare us. And then you have the sound design, that's amazing. But to me, the captain of the ship is Ari Aster. He's the one that helps work with the sound team, the cinematographer, the production design. This house looked amazing. They built this house for this movie so they can move around walls and get the shots they wanted. I love seeing filmmaking like this. This is why I'm a film fan. This is why I reject those big blockbuster movies because of movies like Hereditary. I get 1 or 2 of these a year and I'm like fulfilled as a viewer. I don't need to see 45 Marvel movies a year. Give me 1 or 2 movies like Hereditary and I am set for life. Truly, there's more things I want to talk about in this movie. There's so many spoilers, but like I want to keep this movie like as fresh, if you have not seen it, as fresh as possible, because go into it not knowing anything. From what I've said in the review, I don't think there's enough to like spoil you and give you like a less of an experience, because honestly, I only knew the very basic plot of this movie, which was a mother deals with the death of her mother and some craziness in her family. And that's kind of the basic plot of it. Now, once you get in, there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of like satanic stuff. There's a lot of maybe paranormal stuff. There's a lot in this that like it's very surreal. It's gonna take you a lot to decipher what's real, what's not. And the characters are experiencing that as well. So you're kind of going through the journey with them. And I find that to be really fun. So go through this journey with them. Go in as raw and as fresh as you can, because this is a true experience I think you should have once in your life. Everyone should see an art house horror movie like this just to say that they have and just to go through that experience, because there's truly nothing like seeing a horror film that will stick with you for days. And like I said, Hereditary has not left me. I was just going to like see it and then talk about it with friends. I did a big Facebook and Instagram post about it. But I just wanted to go onto YouTube and talk with you guys about it because, one, there's a lot of reviews, but not too many, and I want to like keep seeing people talk about this. I want to keep the awareness up because Hereditary will be the best horror movie of the year. Maybe Halloween could try to like, maybe Halloween. Maybe. But no, I really think this is by the year's end. We will still talking about Hereditary. This is something you need to see. So I'm going to wrap up my review now before I keep rambling on and accidentally spoil something about the movie. So if you did enjoy this review, please give me a thumbs up. That would mean the very most to me. Also, I would love comments. Let's talk about Hereditary. Keep it as spoiler-free as you can, or if you are going to spoil stuff in the comments, give them a spoiler alert before, and then I'll answer it and we'll talk about it. But try not to spoil it for everybody. That would be really nice. Also, subscribe to my channel. I do videos like this very often, almost every week, sometimes not every week. Sometimes there's boring weeks, like I didn't want to review The Incredibles this week. I skipped The Incredibles. I'll be skipping Disney. But I keep videos like this every week or so, so subscribe to my channel. If you are subscribed, turn on notifications. It's that little bell thing, so you know when my videos are posted. That would also mean the world to me. Thank you again for tuning in, and that was my review of Hereditary.